The Jurassic Park saga in 5 minutes. Everything you need to know about the story so far, spoiler alert. The Jurassic Park saga begins in 1993, where mad genius John Hammond is this close to realizing his dream of an Isla Nublar theme park filled with brachiosaurs, triceratops, and terrifying man-eating nightmare creatures. He assembles archaeologist Alan Grant, paleobotanist Ellie Sattler, lawyer Robert Gennaro, and mathematician Ian Malcolm to approve the park, which is going to prove something of an uphill battle. Meanwhile, crooked computer programmer Dennis Newman Nedry plots with crooked rival Science Corporation guy Lewis Dodgson to steal the dino formula from Hammond's company InGen. But none of that matters right now because our heroes have landed in Isla Nublar and look, dinosaurs! After getting a scientician's explanation on why the dinos can't breed,
well, because all the animals in Jurassic Park are female,
and an introduction to Steely Park Warden Muldoon, who's definitely going to survive this ordeal,
they should all be destroyed.
Our heroes are bundled into a couple of Ford Explorers along with Hammond's adorable grandchildren Tim and Lex to begin their tour, because someone needs to melt Grant's steely heart. But like your average trip to the zoo, all the animals are asleep and everyone soon grows bored and horny.
And then I go too fast. I go too fast.
Their malaise is short-lived as Nedry shuts down the power to the park in order to ditch the scene with his dino embryos, and in the process frees the T-Rex. An intense chase takes place and Gennaro gets eaten on the toilet. Meanwhile, Nedry is having his own problems when he mistakes a poison-spitting Dilophosaurus for a Labrador puppy. Goodbye, Newman. Muldoon and Ellie search for survivors at the scene but only find Malcolm before the T-Rex appears again. At Jurassic Park HQ, Hammond and Ray Arnold reboot the park's entire grid to get the power back up, which releases the Velociraptors and Muldoon's famous last words into the wild.
Clever girl.
Back in the wilderness, Grant, Lex and Tim realize the dinosaurs are breeding, probably dooming the entire human race. The trio make their way to the Jurassic Park Visitors Center where the kids battle some raptors before they all escape thanks to the timely arrival of the T-Rex. On their way back home, Grant and Ellie tell Hammond they're not endorsing his park as they fly off into the sunset to John Williams. We pick up Jurassic Park's story in 1997. Hammond has lost control of InGen to his slimy nephew Ludlow after a family were attacked while visiting the island of Isla Sorna, aka Hammond's Site B. Worried that Site B's free-roaming dinosaurs will be pillaged by InGen, Hammond asks Ian Malcolm to join a group of documentarians on the island to help garner public sympathy. After learning his paleontologist girlfriend Sarah is already there, Malcolm reluctantly agrees to go. Malcolm meets engineer Eddie and video guy Nick before reuniting with Sarah on the island, whose childlike enthusiasm may prove problematic. Malcolm also discovers his daughter Kelly has stowed away in the team's camper before Ludlow and a bunch of InGen meatheads turn up to capture all the dinos they can for a mainland zoo. One of these guys is renegade hunter Roland Tembo, who, like Icarus with a double-barreled 600 Nitro Express, believes he can capture a T-Rex. Nick and Sarah set the captured dinos free and also find an infant T-Rex injured by Ludlow and left as bait for the mama. They bring it back to their trailer because they've apparently got more of a death wish than Charles Bronson. The infant's howling soon attracts 2 T-Rexes who push the trailer over a cliff. Eddie is eaten alive, but Sarah's backpack saves her from plummeting to her death.
Your lucky pack!
Now the team must work with the InGen meatheads in order to reach the old InGen radio station on foot, as everyone's communication equipment has been destroyed. They're chased by the T-Rexes on the way, and Roland manages to trank one. Nick, Kelly, Ian and Sarah manage to ward off some raptors before calling for a copter at the comm station and getting carried off to safety. But wait, in a somewhat unpopular twist, there's more! A freighter carrying the subdued T-Rex crashes into a San Diego dock because the dino predictably ate everyone on board. The T-Rex busts out of the ship and storms into San Diego, while Sarah and Ian learn from Ludlow that the infant is also in town. They rescue it and take it back to the ship. Ludlow tries to intervene, but he's cornered by the adult and eaten by the baby. Sarah retranks the adult and Ian locks it in the hold. Talking to the press sometime later, Hammond reveals that both animals are safe and Isla Sorna is now a nature reserve.
Life will find a way.
4 years later, and humans are prohibited from visiting the island of Isla Sorna by the government, but idiot tourists Ben and Eric go parasailing over it and end up having a mysterious accident because they're idiots.
It's gonna be okay, bud.
Back on land, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler are no longer together, and Grant is struggling to find funding for his dig. Hugh, Paul, and Amanda Kirby, who claim to be a wealthy couple seeking Grant's expertise during an aerial tour of Isla Sorna. Despite saying this,
no force on earth or heaven could get me on that island.
Grant agrees because money. On board the plane with Paul, Amanda, his young protege Billy, and some soon-to-be corpses, Grant quickly realizes they're actually going to land on the island. He's knocked out, and when he comes to, the group are attacked by a Spinosaurus. They get back on the plane, which the Spino then proceeds to play football with. After accosting the Kirbys, Grant learns they're actually a middle-class divorced couple searching for their missing son Eric, who we met on the paraglider at the beginning of the movie. As they look for him, they stumble across some raptor eggs, which Billy lingers over for a suspiciously long time. Searching for communications equipment in a rundown laboratory, the group have a run-in with some raptors. Grant begins to suspect by their bird-like calls that they're looking for something. Maybe he should ask Billy. Before Grant can get eaten, he's saved by Eric, who has somehow survived 8 weeks in this hellhole. Everyone's joy at being reunited is short-lived after the Spinosaur returns. After they escape, Grant yells at Billy after he figures out that he has indeed stolen a raptor egg, but Billy instantly redeems himself when he saves Eric from a pterodon and plummets to his presumed death. The group continue their journey by boat, which the Spinosaurus quickly capsizes because he's a dick like that, and Ellen makes an emergency phone call to the only person who could help. Once again, they escape the Spinosaur, who really isn't doing a great job in this movie. The next day, they're confronted by a group of raptors, which they confuse with an imitation raptor larynx before giving back the eggs. Finally, they're rescued by Ellie's cavalry and discover that, surprise, Billy is totally alive. As they fly back home, they notice the pterodons are now free, which presumably marks the beginning of a terrifying new world. Or the beginning of another foolish attempt to cage these majestic animals and put them in a theme park. The latest chapter, Jurassic World, is set to tell the story of a functioning theme park in Isla Nublar 22 years after the events of the original film, where new owner the Mizrahi Corporation has spliced dino DNA to create a brand new killing machine, the Indominus Rex. Will these people never learn? For more on Jurassic World, stick with IGN.